in America. They can either like Dr. J or dislike him. But to go around and threaten other people, or Kevin doesn't want to do his show, or me, my network, threaten me if when I get radio stations picking me up to get them to try to cancel it, no, that's not right. So, I mean, just think about it. Would I go after you out there because I didn't believe what your beliefs were in Bigfoot or UFOs? Do I slander you on the show when I have you as a guest? Whatever your story is? No, I would never do that. Would I go out and try to harm you? No, I wouldn't. So please, just get over it. I didn't mean to cause any problem having Dr. J on July 13th. To me, I just looked at him as a normal guest that had his own views on Bigfoot, and I thought it should be heard. Again, we all have our opinions, if a person is real or not, or what have you. That's your decision. But to respond the way that some of these people have been responding, it just makes me nervous, because if they're so uppity up in the Bigfoot community, that scares me, because that tells me they're really biased. So you got to go into this whole thing with open eyes. Now, I'm going to say this before I sign off. Now, I'm going to mean this, and I really mean this. I don't care if you believe me that a friend of mine who was a medical doctor up in the Canadian Rockies around 2002, in June, first part of June, we were hiking out to a World War II internment camp for Japanese prisoners. On part of that camp, there was a mountainside which had the remains of a silver mine. That whole area was just silver mines everywhere. Well, can I tell you, I first thought it was a bear, like my friend, but it wasn't. It was a Bigfoot or something. I don't think somebody, and I say this seriously, I don't think somebody was out there in the middle of the woods, way out 15, 20 miles away from any civilization, would be dressed out in a monkey suit, okay, to scare me and my friend away. Also, I don't know many people who could run 2 miles going from 2 legs to 4 legs and back to 2 legs. Now, I don't care if you believe me or not, but every time I've told my story of running into Bigfoot, and I have kept it quiet since that time. Because, one thing, it's different to report, hey, I saw a UFO, or I saw a ghost, or I heard a ghost, or I had a shadow person in my living room, okay? That's one thing. But a lot of things out there, if you start talking about Bigfoot, they look at you kind of like strange, like you got a problem. Seriously. So I didn't talk about it till I started having guests on my show talking about Bigfoot. Now, I will tell you that I don't think, my opinion, and you can believe it or not, I don't think they're really friendly and furry like a lot of people think they are. Now, maybe they could be in your area because maybe they're close to people. But I can tell you this, up in the Canadian Rockies, up by that internment camp way out in the middle of nowhere, it wasn't friendly. Okay? And it's then to the point, before that happened, I used to go camping with my family on the weekends. I used to go hiking in the woods. I used to do all that stuff. I have not been into a campground or anything since then. The only woods I've been into is the 2 acres of cedar trees I have out on my own property. So that tells you something right there. I have not had the desire to go back in the woods. Anyway, tomorrow we have Michael W. Hall, the paranormal lawyer, is on. He's on 7 to 9. And no, we're not going to be talking Bigfoot tomorrow. We're talking about production of, a producer of movies and movie maker. That's who he has on his show tomorrow. So everybody, I want you to have a good weekend. And again, I didn't mean to offend anybody or any groups, but I had to voice my opinion because, when I got a message back from Kevin Beagle, and he was upset, saying he kind of didn't even want to do the show anymore until I talked to him. At least that's what I got from his text. And then we talked afterwards. I told him, don't let it get you down. I mean, you're going to always have people agree or disagree. But he had nothing to do with what happened on July 13th. I'll take the whole blame, me, Gary. And that was my fault, okay? And maybe I should have, made phone calls before I had Dr. J on, and maybe I would have got feedback that way. But I went by his book. I went by his YouTube channel. And, I talked to him for a good 45 minutes back about a month ago, prior to coming on the show. And to me, he felt sincere. And that's all it is. I mean, if somebody believes in something, I'm not going to sit there and tear them apart. What you remember Joe Pine, people? Anybody old enough to remember who Joe Pine was on TV? He would get guests on his show. And he'd be really kind to him for the first part of the show. Then, the last part of the show, he would tear him a new asshole. He would treat him like shit and make him feel like shit. And he would sit there and tear the whole story apart. I don't even know how he would even get guests on unless they were self-destructive guests that wanted to be on the show just to feel like nothing. I don't know. But I'm never going to be like that. So everybody, you have a good weekend. You can find us at www.nightdreamstalkradio.com. That's www.nightdreamstalkradio.com. And if you want to, if you got a story you want to tell, you wrote a book about UFOs or orbs or, walking dead people or ghosts or black-eyed children, witchcraft, vampires, and all that stuff, you can get a hold of me. Actually, you can get a hold of my producer. And her name is Linda Boardman, Boardman. Now, the email address, people keep coming back to me going, why does it have a name for a motorcycle? Well, originally when I started doing this a year ago to Art Slap My Wrists, I decided to get back in radio and I figured, I'm going to talk about motorcycles because that's my life. Well, you know what? No, I didn't feel comfortable. And immediately after the first couple weeks, we converted it over to all paranormal. And I'm glad I did. And I love you guys who listen to the show. I mean, I have a huge audience base. And all up till today, this is the first time I've gotten any negative feedback in a year of doing the show. Never got a negative feedback. I get mail all the time from people telling me how well they love the show. And virtually every guest, I get either a card or they send me emails saying that they enjoyed being on the show. Hey, that's what we're here for. And if it helps sell a few of your books, that's great. Get people to your website, that's great. But you can contact me if you want to be a guest on the show or you want to give me feedback even to what I just said. Well, you can get a hold of me at motorcycletalkbygary@gmail.com. That's motorcycletalkbygary@gmail.com. Everybody have a great weekend. I'm going to have a really great weekend. I have my grandson, which I haven't seen much for the past 2 years since he moved to California. We're in Washington State. He's going to be spending the night here, my granddaughter, and it's going to be fun. We're going to have a barbecue, sit back, and we're going to relax and enjoy the beautiful weather here at the harbor. Everybody, have a good one.